Netflix recently released a minute of footage from the upcoming season 2 of Shadow and Bone, and I'm worried. Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video you can watch me draw a cute illustration of the crows celebrating Holi, all while I talk about my worries for season 2. Happy Holi to everyone who's celebrating, and a lovely spring or fall to everyone else. The Shadow and Bone footage that I want to talk about is the one where Alina and Mal are trying to hire Nikolai to help with Alina's pursuit of destroying the Shadowfall. Currently, I'm in the process of rereading Siege and Storm, and if you've read it, you might remember that in the book, the situation was reversed. Book spoilers ahead. In Siege and Storm, Alina and Mal were trying to hide in Novi Zem, but to no avail, because the Darkling found and captured them and embarked them on a sea voyage to capture the mythical Sea Whip. This was Morozova's second amplifier and would have Alina to increase her power and the Darkling to enslave her if he was the one to kill the Sea Whip. But the Darkling, being the naive little boy that he is duped by the very man whom he hired to sail his ship, the privateer Stormhound, and his crew. So Alina and Mal find themselves on Stormhound's ship instead, sailing to meet his client in Ravka, who proves to be the very same person, because Stormhound was in fact the alter ego of Prince Nikolai of Ravka. So basically in the book, Alina was being ferried around by powerful men with resources, the caveat being that where the Darkling was egotistic and evil, Nikolai was egotistic and good. First of all, in the new season, the showrunners confirmed that Stormhound and Nikolai are going to be one and the same person, and we don't yet know how he's going to be called, so I just call him Stormkolai for the sake of simplicity, and laughs. Now look at the footage of Alina and Mal trying to hire Stormkolai, and you can see that Alina appears to be the one with the resources. She promises Stormkolai that he will be rewarded, and he is excited at the prospect of adventures, danger and money. I believe they are bringing this reversal of roles in order to make Alina look more self-empowered, rather than just a pretty prize that powerful men ferry around the Grishaverse, which would be a good thing if done right, but still I have to wonder. In the books, Nikolai was rich, even though Ravka was broke, because he had a very successful smuggler career behind him, whereas Mal and Alina were penniless. So basically in the books, the privileged people with resources are men, the Darkling, Nikolai and later on Kaz, and they are also the ones who take the decisions. They are the intelligent schemers in their respective stories. This feels a bit unfair, that even though the heroine is a woman, there always seems to be the need of a Prince Charming to save the day. I like that since it's Alina's story, the showrunners seem to be wanting to let her take the important decisions in the plot. And this mentality also seems to be part of the improvements they've done in season 1 when adapting the book Shadow and Bone. Remember how in the book, the Darkling seduced Alina when she was asking too many questions about the amplifier that he intended to enslave her with, whereas in the show Alina was the one to decide to leave her past behind and make the first move by kissing the Darkling? That was a very good decision from the part of the showrunners and one that didn't tamper with the direction of the story. What I'm worried about in season 2 is that by reversing the power dynamic between Alina and Nikolai, by having her hire him, they'll make Alina too powerful too soon, where in the book she was moany and vulnerable, but she was on a journey to find her inner strength. I'm also worried that this will change the character of Nikolai a lot. In the books, his number one motivation was the good of Ravka, but since he expects reward in the show, that means his motivation is now money. Then what is he? A shell of the complex and conflicted character that he was in the books? Remember when in the adaptation of Harry Potter they gave some of Ron Weasley's best line to Hermione? For example, remember when instead of Ron, Hermione was the one to say, "If you want to kill Harry, you'll have to kill us first"? That made an already apt character like Hermione look unrealistically good at everything, whereas Ron, who was defined by his undying devotion to his friends, was left to look like a comedic relief. I'm all for giving female characters proper credit and complexity. What is a bit fishy though is when this is done as a check mark on an expectation list and pushed too far just to make sure or done at the expense of other characters, as if there's a limited amount of amazingness that protagonists can have in between themselves. Anyway, back to Shadow and Bone. By no means am I saying that they are going to screw season 2, and some improvements to Alina's book role as precious cargo that moans too much are definitely welcome, but I just hope these changes are done in a way that is consistent with Nikolai's character as well, and he's not just going to have the mind of some 13-year-old kid who's happy to be part of a pirate adventure. Book Nikolai definitely feels a bit unrealistic with all those resources and abilities at his disposal, and it's not fair that Alina, the heroine of the book, should always need saving, but Book Nikolai also has complex motivation, a jaw-dropping backstory, and 10 memorable lines in the span of 4 chapters, and I still want to see that in the show. And I don't want to see Alina turned into the only person who decides the direction of the plot when the magnitude of this fight to destroy the Fold affects everyone in the Grishaverse. Please, her Bildungsroman, her learning charisma in order to gather allies who believe in the cause rather than doing it for the money, is part of the story. Please let that still happen. Please let Sol Koroleva still happen. Please let Normo Herring still happen. Please let her crack the cupola, for crying out loud. Remember, it's the power of us, not the power of me. To conclude, I'm still optimistic. I think the show team is passionate and I know why we love this character so much. The cast is to die for. The trailer and teaser had us shouting, screaming, throwing up. So of course I'll devour season 2 multiple times over, and I'm really curious to see how they remix everything to give our heroes the best story there is, and I have a lot of faith that a magnificent outcome is still possible. So how do you feel about this? Please leave your thoughts in the comments, and of course if you like and subscribe, I shall make more Grishaverse commentaries for you. Thank you and see you next time. Bye!